right. She says I'm on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday's Cooking with Kat and Stuff. We're so happy to have you join us tonight or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, the country, etc. I'm going to let Stephanie find the video because
We have a lot going on.
We do have a lot going on. Welcome to our discussion on fats. We've done this discussion before, and we probably bit off a little more than we could chew, but I'm really excited about all the things we're going to make. And I'm going to talk about fat because you need fat in your diet and in your body. It's so important for staying healthy and having a well-functioning immune system and for having great brain power. Because did you know that your brain is made of 60% fat? You probably did know this.
I think that's very good information.
You know a lot about the brain.
I know a little bit about the brain.
I know even less. But I know that our brain is mostly made of fat. So we need good fats in our diet to support our brains.
Yep.
So we are going to make iced turmeric lattes that are high in healthy fat. We are going to make cookie dough, edible cookie dough bars.
Edible cookie dough bars.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We're kind of looking forward to that.
Really kind of excited. Yeah. And then we're going to do an actual dinner item, which is going to be shrimp. It's a garlicky shrimp one pan meal. So I turned the stove on low. So we're going to pour some olive oil in there, and then we're going to do green bell pepper, carrots, a bunch of garlic. Where'd my little chopper thing go? Right in front of me. Hey everybody, as you're jumping on, please comment, say hello. Please ask us any questions you have. We're talking about fat tonight. I'm going to buzz my garlic here real quick. I love this little thing. It's so handy.
The perfect size for what we do.
Yeah. Okay, so your brain is made of 60% fat. So you need fat in your diet so that you're having a healthy brain, a healthy immune system, etc. So fat has more than twice as many calories as protein and carbs. So protein and carbs have 4 calories per gram, and fat has 9 calories per gram, which is significant. So this is why we say we don't want you to overload yourself with fat. Hi, Mama Patty, nice to see you. But we want you to eat fat. We want to make sure you have a healthy amount of good fat in your diet. So we want you to eat, let's see, I wrote it down. I probably am getting ahead of myself. That's okay. I'll back up.
Do you want me to start sauteing?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want the garlic now, or do you want the garlic here?
Let's wait and put it in after these.
The shrimps? Okay. I will set it over here for you with a little spatula so you can get it out of there. So your body needs fat to store energy. So our fat stores hold on to energy so we can use it later when it's needed. It's helpful for insulation and protection. It turns out if you didn't have fat in your booty, your booty would hurt when you were sitting all the time because...
Did you just call it a booty?
I did call it a booty. I felt like that was the most appropriate thing to say on camera with people watching. You need protection in the form of fat. It also protects all your vital organs on the inside of your body with a nice layer of fat to keep them safe. And like I said, insulation. It helps us stay warm, especially when it's cold outside. And then it helps carry your fat-soluble compounds like vitamin D to the right places in your body so your body can use it. And it turns out it tastes good. There's this thing called flavor and mouthfeel that we get from fat that just really can't be replaced. We have tried with fat replacers, and they're just not the same. Like, non-fat yogurt to me is just disgusting because it feels weird.
I've never had it.
Oh, don't. It's terrible. Trust me on this.
Deal.
So, healthy fats are in the foods that we eat. We need omega-6s and we need omega-3s from our diet because our body cannot make them, so they're essential. We need to eat them. 100 years ago, we used to eat like 2 parts omega-6s to 1 part omega-3s, and now we eat something like 15 parts omega-6s to 1 part omega-3s.
Oh.
This is important because omega-6s are inflammatory and omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So we need more omega-6s in our diet in general, but the ratio has widened so drastically that now we have more inflammation and people are having more pain and more issues. And I see a lot of people who are trying to lose weight and they can't because they have so much inflammation that's refusing to allow their body to let go of their fat stores. So we want you to eat more omega-3s. So I made some walnut milk. Typically I would buy a form of nut milk, but I don't know that you can buy walnut milk. I don't know that it's
I've not seen it.
popular. I found a recipe for it online. Shannon, one of our followers, if you're watching, hey Shannon, inspired by you, I was thinking about this. You had asked months ago if we made our own milk substitutes.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't have time for that. Well, it turns out I made time today because I wanted a high omega-3 carrier for our turmeric latte that we're going to make. So I soaked walnuts. I had them in my freezer. I didn't go out and buy them. I already had them. I soaked walnuts in water for like 8 hours, drained them, rinsed them, put them in my Vitamix because this is not necessarily something you can do in another blender. It has to be a high-powered Vitamix type blender. And then I just let it go. And we have this really beautiful...
Do you have the bigger bowl for that?
Maybe. Yeah. I think it's in our little... This is the 20 ounce, but I might need some more space. So... Ooh, I didn't get this clean from last week. It smells like fruit.
Well, shall we use the other one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna need to clean this anyway, but so I didn't get all the stuff out of there. I thought I did last week. That's really interesting. Sorry, everybody.
Here, you
Shows
use
that
this, I'll wash that.
I'm not cleaning my stuff very well. Shame on me.
Oh, that's not the part
So,
I need to take off.
Fats are also, they help transport things in our systems like I was talking about vitamin D. You need fat in your body to transport vitamin D to the right place. Well, lycopene, which is the red in tomatoes, is another one of those phytochemicals that is really important for your health. It's great for your eyesight, but your body can't use it if you don't have enough fat. So we want healthy fats in our diet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my walnut milk. It doesn't smell like anything now. Earlier it smelled like walnuts, but it's been sitting for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to pour 16 ounces, and I think I had 16 ounces measured out, but I'm just going to double check here. Yep. Okay. And it got pretty darn smooth. So 16 ounces of our milk. I have turmeric. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you tonight, too. Kara, we'll catch you later, too. Let us know if you have any questions. So I'm adding ginger. And then I'm going to take turmeric, ground turmeric, because I don't have fresh turmeric, which is what the recipe called for. So if you want to substitute... Oh, you don't have to worry about typos, Karen. We're good. If you want to substitute a powdered spice, ooh, that smells good. It's just peppers and carrots too, and it smells amazing. It's like a 3-to-1 ratio. So powdered is much, much stronger than fresh. So my recipe calls for 4 teaspoons of finely grated fresh turmeric. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, okay? Because it's going to be overpowering. So turmeric is an anti-inflammatory spice. also fat soluble. Your body is not going to absorb it if you don't have enough fat in there. So I tell people that are taking turmeric supplements, you need to have some kind of fat when you take your turmeric supplement, or it's not going to work. In curries and Indian cuisine, you
coconut milk.
Use coconut milk because it's high in fat and it's a plant-based. Thank you so much. You're so great. What would I do without you? And then I have cardamom. I'm going to take a pinch or two here and throw that in there. Cardamom and other spices, also very anti-inflammatory. So then I'm going to add lemon juice and then a pinch of salt. And then I'm going to blend it and let it sit for a few minutes. Ooh, sorry. And then I'm going to pour it over some glasses of just ice. So fats are removed from a lot of grains. Grains have fat until they're processed. So one of the reasons we like whole grains is because they still have all the goodness in them. I've talked about it before with fiber, how when they process their grains, they remove all the fiber. Well, they remove the fat also. And that fat in grains is really healthy. And so we want that in there. And they typically don't replace the fat. They'll replace the vitamins and minerals that are lost. Okay, so I've got my lemon in there. And then I did say a pinch of salt. Would you pinch me a little bit of salt in there since my fingers are a little bit lemony? Thank you. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So the other thing is that when oils are processed at high heat, they degrade and you lose them. So in processed foods and in fried foods, any of the qualities of the oil, gone because they're degraded. All right, so.
Glad we have the extra space.
I know. And I'm probably going to blend this twice because of the ginger in there. If you can't tolerate the texture from the ginger, just strain this out. The flavor's still going to be there.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to let this sit for like 5 minutes now so that all those flavors can incorporate before I pour it over and we taste it. So this here.
Ready to put the shrimp in.
Okay, so the carrots and the peppers are sauteed nicely. The shrimp is not going to take very long at all to cook. Shrimp is really quick. It takes what, like 2 or 3 minutes per side?
Yeah. Well, maybe I should cook a little longer because those carrots are going to be.
They're going to be a little bit tough, yeah. So, yeah, if you want to add a little bit of our broth.
I was going to say, maybe if we steam them a little.
Yeah. So this recipe didn't call for broth, but we made a little bit we had garlic bouillon, and so we made a little bit extra because we thought we're going to need liquid for our blending, which we will, but it might help break down those carrots and make them a little softer too. So, what does it look like when you have a fat deficiency? We typically see it in children. They don't grow well. They stay small and kind of scrawny. You could get a rash or dry, scaly skin if you don't have enough fat, because we have fat in every single cell in our body. If you're not eating enough of the right kinds of fat, it can't be distributed to the rest of your body. So for a lot of my patients, my friends, my family members, I recommend they take an omega-3 supplement. And even for the animals, like dogs and cats, they sell an omega-3 supplement because it helps with their skin health and their coat. So I recommend everybody take an omega-3 supplement unless there's a reason not to. If you take a high dose, it can be used as a blood thinner. So if you're already on blood thinners, we don't want you to necessarily take that without talking to a doctor first. So if you have any concerns, go talk to a doctor. Another sign that you may have a fat deficiency is that your immune system is terrible. Mm-hmm. Fat is so important for a healthy immune system. So if you're getting enough protein in and you're hydrated and you're still getting sick all the time, let's look at the rest of your diet and see what else is going on. And then, very, very rarely, but it can still happen with lack of fat in your diet, you may have neuropathy or pain from your nervous system. You may have vision problems, and as an adult, you may have some growth problems. You may see it in your hair, your nails, etc. So lack of fat, it can be caused by an illness. So if you're sick and your body just kind of starts breaking down, you may need to get more fat in because it uses fat for energy. Involuntary starvation, so if you're ever in a situation where you can't eat, your body's going to start breaking down your fat stores, and then hopefully we hope you have enough so that you can stay alive long enough to get to the point where you can replenish it. People who go through famine, and then people who do extreme dieting and extreme exercise can be very, very dangerous. You can end up with a fat deficiency there too. So signs: cold temperatures or cool temperatures become intolerable. Even at room temperature, you might get cold easily. You may have increased pain when sitting down or lying down. If you don't have enough fat in your diet, women can stop menstruating or become infertile. Children, I've said it before, but they stop growing. Your skin can start to deteriorate, or we'll see what we used to call bed sores. Now we call them pressure ulcers or pressure sores, especially in our elderly. Your hair growth stops, and people who are anorexic, so they have an eating disorder called anorexia nervosa, they'll develop this fine hair on their skin because it's your body's attempt to keep you warm, and that happens when you don't have enough fat in your diet. So we really, really want you to eat a healthy amount of fat. It's 15 to 30, nope, that's not right. I looked at the wrong number. So there's different kind of fats. So we have omega-3s, which are found in fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel, fish oil supplements, high in omega-3s. That's why we recommend them. And my notes here specifically say take with medical supervision if you're a child, you're pregnant, or you are nursing. Super important to talk to your doctor first. And also if you have any concerns about blood thinners. The vegetarian types include flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, which is why I did walnut milk here. And I'm going to blend this again. And then I'm going to pour it into our glasses. Oh, you know what I forgot to add? Sugar. Maple syrup or honey? Which do you prefer?
It's open.
I got maple syrup right here, I think.
Use that.
All right, so we do want a little bit of sweetness in here. So I'm going to add maple syrup. The recipe says palm sugar or raw sugar. I got maple syrup here. It's going to taste just as delicious. And no, I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to eyeball it. So if it's too sweet, I'm sorry.
Fine.
It'll be fine. Okay. All right. So the other things are oils like canola oil and soybean oil are typically higher in omega-3 fats. And so we do want you to use them in moderation in your cooking. I discovered today when I was doing some research on this that seaweed and algae are higher in omega-3s also. So have you ever seen the supplement called spirulina?
Yeah.
High in omega-3s.
Nice.
So if you can incorporate that into a smoothie, the other one is chlorella, and they're both a powder, and they're made from seaweed. You can add those into a smoothie, into a dressing, and you'll get a really high dose of omega-3s for the day, which is really, really fabulous. So I didn't have that on the previous fat video that we did. The other thing that I don't have is hemp seeds, so I can't show you that, but you could do hemp seeds, and also edamame. So eat all of these things. And then omega-6s, which are inflammatory. And I will say, hi, Susie. Oh, you get the kombucha spirulina. I forget that there are some brands that make that now too. Yeah. So omega-6s. So our body needs to have an inflammatory process. It's really, really important that our inflammatory process works because it warns us as to when things are going on. We need to have immediate inflammation because if we get a cut or a burn or a break, our body needs to deploy that inflammatory process so we can heal. Now, it's the chronic inflammation that is just your body going crazy and deploying this inflammatory state that is the problem because it doesn't have anything to heal. So then you end up in this state of inflammation and you just hurt. So autoimmune diseases cause this to happen as well. So we want you to get in enough omega-3s so that it can sort of calm that inflammatory state back down. Okay, last blend with the maple syrup, and then we're gonna...
This smells
amazing.
so good. I cannot wait to taste it.
Yeah. So we're gonna blend that up and we're gonna see how it goes. Okay, so the other things. So the other types of fat that I'll just touch on briefly are triglycerides. Really important in your body. We just don't want them to be too high. They should be in a certain range. Your doctor should be checking them every year. They're really important because they help with energy. They help spread healthy things to different parts of your body through your bloodstream. But we don't want too much because then they can sometimes get stuck.
Well, that's pretty.
Isn't that pretty? How's it smell?
Gingery, which smells
Gingery.
delicious.
Cheers.
It looks banana-y, but it's
To
not.
decreasing inflammation.
Decreased inflammation for me. I'll take it.
It's very interesting. I'm glad I added the lemon in there too because the lemon's nice. So it does say serve with a lemon wedge.
It's very different. It's good. It's very gingery. If you like ginger, you will love it.
I added extra ginger.
Yeah, I love it.
I love ginger, so I always tend to go a little overboard. You could even add a little bit of cinnamon to this.
Cinnamon would be good.
It would be nice as well. All right. So the walnut milk in here. Can we get the recipe? I will absolutely post it. I have it, so I might just post the PDF of the recipe that I have for it, and I'll just pop it on there. I believe, let me see where it's from. It's a Bon Appetit recipe that I've had sitting in my OneDrive for like 10 years. So, to decreasing inflammation, everyone. That's what I desire for all of you. Okay, so, and then the other one I'm going to touch on is sterols or cholesterol. So we need cholesterol. We need our body to be able to make appropriate cholesterol because it helps make all of our hormones. And if we have hormonal imbalances, that causes all kinds of problems for us, both physically and mentally. So we want to have enough hormone, enough fat in our body that our bodies can produce these sterols so that our hormones are good. If you have questions, talk to your doctor. I am definitely not an expert, but I know that it's incredibly important. So, benefits of high fat: it decreases your stomach's acid production, which can be helpful in lowering reflux. Go figure, because we often say don't eat high-fat foods because it increases reflux. Well, that typically happens when they're unhealthy fats like fried foods. So we want you to decrease the saturated fat and the trans fats because those fats are very inflammatory and cause all kinds of problems. If we're having a healthy fat like this, it's going to help our stomachs to respond a little bit more appropriately. I've had reflux really bad this week. I think it's a stress response, but I'm hoping that maybe this will help me because it has the turmeric in there, which is anti-inflammatory. It has the ginger, and it has the omega-3s in the walnut. So here's hoping. So it slows down how quickly your stomach empties because it takes a little longer to digest in that stomach. And your stomach does do a little bit of digesting fats, but not a lot. So you do start digesting fats in your mouth. Your tongue produces an enzyme called lingual lipase, which starts to break down fat. And then your stomach produces a little bit of lipase. And then most of it happens once it gets into your small intestine. But it can help with hunger and feeling hungry less often if you eat healthy fats at your meals. So if you have a problem with being hungry all the time, make sure you get enough protein, make sure you get enough fiber, and definitely make sure you get enough healthy fats in your meal. It's going to help with feeling hungry less often. And then you won't want to snack as much. Do we want to get started on this or we want to wait? Oh, that smells so good.
Doesn't it?
Whew, I'm really excited about this.
Well, that's ready to go.
Okay. Do we want to puree that real quick?
Sure.
And then we'll start on our cookie dough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, fat helps your liver and your pancreas function better. It sort of stimulates them to work appropriately. So back in the 80s and early 90s, there was this big low fat push. Everything's got to be low fat, low fat.
Give me your machine.
My machine. And it turns out we thought that's why people were getting fat. It's not. We gain weight because we eat too much sugar and your body has to store it in our fat cells. So we want to decrease the amount of sugar and increase the healthy fats. Yeah, Karen, she said interesting about healthy fats and reflux. Good to know. I think that a lot of people struggle with reflux and they cut all the fats out of their diet, which doesn't actually help because they still have reflux and they still have to take PPIs. So just a thought. Healthy fats are going to be helpful all around. So the other thing, they're great for texture. They feel nice in your mouth. They offer a smoothness. This is why when we've talked about pureeing meats in the past, we've talked about adding a little bit of fat, cooking it in a little bit of fat, because it helps with the texture of the meat. It helps with flavor. It tastes good. I got our little teacups ready for our shrimpies. A little more liquid.
A little more.
So the other thing that omega-3s specifically help with is reducing your risk of heart disease. So if you have an appropriate amount of omega-3s in your diet, it is cardioprotective and can help with cleaning your arteries as opposed to clogging them. The other thing it can help with is arthritis because, like I said before, omega-3s help with anti-inflammatory processes and soothing the body. If you have arthritis pain, it's really important to get enough omega-3s so that you're supporting your body's ability to calm the inflammatory process, and arthritis is one of those inflammatory processes. And then I'm gonna take a sip. How's it going?
It's going.
It's going. Okay.
I'm gonna go one more.
This shrimp and veggies probably needs to go like 5 or 6 times in the blender because there's a lot going on in there. So we want to make sure we can get it as smooth as possible. So the other thing I want to add is that people who have neurologic conditions, this would be like MS. It's a disease of the central nervous system. Or neuromuscular disease, which is a neurological disease of different parts of the body. Oh yeah, it smells delightful.
Try it.
These healthy fats can help with those diseases as well. That texture is really,
it's so
velvety.
Smooth. Yeah.
So shrimp has this really beautiful way of pureeing well. And I think the flavor, so the garlic in there, you were right about adding extra garlic because when we puree things, it changes the flavor profile. The extra garlic is really, really nice. So honestly, this with our latte is like a perfect pairing combination as well, because this is super garlicky, this is super gingery, and those flavors go well together as well.
And shrimp, if you like shrimp puree is so smooth because it's
got a high fat content. Yeah.
We've always known and we've always said how important it is to add fat to any protein that you're blending, that you're pureeing, because it helps it to be smoother. So shrimp has its own natural fat, so
yeah,
it's so smooth and
delightful.
Velvety. The taste is
really good, yeah.
And we changed the vegetables in it because we didn't have broccoli.
Correct.
And I had carrots.
Oh yeah, it said broccoli and I think it was red bell pepper, and we had a green bell pepper
and carrots.
And carrots. So why not?
We changed it.
You know what? We can experiment. You can do everything you want at home. So
this is one where the flavor the flavor is so good without having to add extra after.
Did you salt and pepper the... Okay.
I did.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't need extra salt.
No, I did put a little, but I think it's the garlic bouillon, or
it's
the
saltier.
Garlic whatever. It's not bouillon, but whatever it was that we used.
This stuff.
Yeah.
Better than bouillon. So, recommendations for fat, and we're gonna start on our cookie dough.
Our cookie dough.
Bar.
Oh, that's so exciting.
In your diet, we want you to eat less than 10% of your calories from saturated fat. Now, that being said, if you're gonna have saturated fat, choosing a plant-based saturated fat like coconut oil is the way to go. So how do you know that it's saturated?
How do you know?
It's solid at room temperature.
Yes, okay.
Solid at room temperature. So olive oil, which is a monounsaturated fatty acid, is solid in the fridge and liquid at room temperature.
And then eggs, don't we?
What's that?
Do we need eggs in this?
We do not need eggs in this because it's raw. Yeah.
That's right.
So, before I give my very last recommendation,
keep going.
Butter. If you choose butter, the healthiest butter you can get is grass-fed organic. Now, if you're like me and you don't buy grass-fed organic butter, it's okay. Butter is still, I would say that if you have to eat a fat, we want it to be a naturally occurring fat rather than a man-made processed fat. So butter is better than shortening by a long shot, because shortening is a man-made processed.
So this is one that we get at Costco. It is a New Zealand-based
grass-fed, but it's not organic
butter,
and that's okay. You choose what you want. I think this recipe actually called for vegan butter, and we switched it up.
We're not vegans.
We're not vegans. That's true.
And I don't have vegan butter.
And we don't have vegan butter.
And we only used what we had.
We did not go to the store today. And it turns out we had a lot of stuff.
We do. So this is peanut butter, but there are other options.
You can use sunflower butter. You can use almond butter. You can use cashew butter. You can use whatever kind of smooth butter that you want in this recipe.
What's next?
Oat flour.
Okay, let me try to break this up some.
Yeah, do you want to whisk?
Maybe.
All right, so gonna need this for the vanilla. Get all my turmeric. You're just gonna throw it in there. I love that. Okay, so
well, maybe not the whisk.
Vanilla, almond flour, oat flour, butter, peanut butter. Let me look back at my recipe. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Oat flour, almond flour, nut butter, butter, maple syrup. That's what it was. Right. That's why we... And it calls for 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. So...
However, we are making this higher protein.
Yes, we are. Because Steph got this. She says it's fabulous. It's Dunkin' cappuccino flavored protein powder. It was
just one of those, I need some protein powder, and they had that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's delightful.
And if it's delicious, you might as well. This
delightful.
Is going to be high fat, high protein cookie dough. Edible, don't have to bake it, cookie dough. All right. So we may need to add a little bit more liquid because we're adding the protein powder. And we will decide as we're mixing this if that needs to happen.
1 scoop, do you think?
I think 1 scoop is definitely the place we should start. So 1 scoop has 25 grams of protein. Okay. So, how much fat should you have in your diet every day as a human being? You should eat between, let me make sure I get my numbers right, 20 to 35% of your daily calories from fat. So that's 1/3 of your calories should come from fat. And we ideally want half of those to come from omega-3s. In this day and age, that's almost impossible. We may not need to add more liquid.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So we want you to try to incorporate fish into your diet twice a week. Salmon, mackerel, cod, tuna, those are higher in omega-3s. But fish in general, twice a week. Could be shrimp. Okay. Flax seeds. We take our flax seeds, and if you eat them whole, which these ones are, you can't actually, yeah, we could add a little bit in there. You can't actually absorb the omega-3s from a whole flax seed. You need to crush them. So I have a coffee grinder that I pour my flax seeds into, and then I have ground powdered flax seeds. And so I am going to add a couple of tablespoons into our cookie dough. So typically when I make
it's actually loose
yogurt in the morning, I add 2 tablespoons of flax seeds or chia seeds to my yogurt because that gives me a really nice dose of omega-3s to start my day. And they're also high in protein as well. So, put the lid back on our protein. So then the other thing, and one thing we haven't tried is, so pumpkin seeds are a great source as well. I don't know how they puree. So that's going to have to be an experiment for another day. So we will try to puree pumpkin seeds another time. So
how much
these
does this call for?
It called for cup.
It's really
so
loose.
It is really loose. Do we want to add a little bit more of our oat flour? Because I have a little bit left.
Well, I don't know. It says to refrigerate it, but
it does say to refrigerate it.
Bit.
So we just took I'm going to add all of it because there wasn't that much left. So I have a Vitamix. I brought it over to Stephanie's today, and I put a cup of oats in the Vitamix, and I turned it on high speed, and I just let it go until it was a powdery, floury texture. So if you have a Vitamix, it is super, super wonderful for making the nut milk, the walnut milk that I just made. It's great for making oat flour. I even took some almonds and I made almond flour today. Not that I needed to because Steph has almond flour, but it was really nice to find out that I could make it if I needed to. So we were going to talk a little bit about the chocolate chips in this recipe also, and how they're not necessarily appropriate for someone on a pureed diet. So
unless they're restrained enough to let it sit in their mouth until it kind of melts down.
Right.
I've known people that
can manage, that
have wanted chocolate that desperately that they were willing to sit and let it melt to 98.6.
Yeah.
So we're also, if you want to grab that chocolate,
I do.
Going to pour it. Yeah, this is a little bit of a big. It will be skinny.
They're skinny bars. That's okay. That just means I can eat more, right? You love my logic.
Don't tempt me.
I know, right? So the chocolate is just, it's like 3-ish ounces of chocolate and 2 tablespoons of coconut oil.
Yep.
You could have used butter. You could use coconut oil. The coconut oil is going to harden better at room temperature. So butter, if you think about it, is soft at room temperature. It's not hard. It's still solid, but it's a soft solid. And that's because it's got multiple kinds of fat in it. And most oils have multiple kinds of fat in them. They're not just one kind of fat. So anytime you see an oil, even if it's not a blend, it's going to have like 4 or 5 or 6 different kinds of fat that make up that oil. So pour that baby on there. Mm-hmm. Ooh, it's not quite melted all the way.
No.
Nope. We got a chunk in the bottom there, but that's okay.
Got to heat it up some more then.
You want me to toss it back in there real quick? Okay. All right.
So we're just there's a melt. Oh, just do that. Just.
Oh. Ice cream. There we go.
Just soften ice cream.
Soften ice cream.
It's a smart microwave.
I see. I let my ice cream soften by staring at it.
Not everyone is as patient as you are, my dear.
Oh, I'm not. I usually put it in my mouth and then I end up with brain freeze and I don't like how cold it is in my teeth. Anyway, I'm special. It's okay. So tell us your thoughts. Yeah. If you're on right now, tell us your thoughts on our pureed shrimp dinner and our turmeric latte. What are you thinking?
Yes. And what is something that you're craving that we could do next week?
Yeah.
Because this is really good.
I know. And I love that. So I was originally thinking about making salmon mousse, but in order to do salmon or smoked salmon, you literally have to let it blend for like 5 minutes. And that's really loud. So Stephanie suggested shrimp, and this is a super easy recipe. Didn't take that long to cook. Didn't take that long to blend. I mean, this was a like 10 to 15 minute dinner max. So, and of course, maybe like 5 minutes to chop the.
Yeah, we didn't count the chopping, but
yeah. How's it taste?
Yummy.
Guilt-free cookie dough. You can eat
without
being.
Is it totally guilt-free though?
I just mean guilt-free because in regular cookie dough, you aren't supposed to eat it because of the raw flour and the raw eggs. It's less about the eggs and more about the raw flour. But, oh yeah, Susie, the green powder. So spirulina or chlorella. So power supplements. Well, we would consider them superfoods. And I was taught when I was in nutrition school that seaweed is one of the healthiest things you can incorporate in your diet. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't mention. Nori, which is the seaweed that you wrap sushi in, super high in omega-3s.
Makes sense.
Eat more sushi.
Deal.
I don't know that I would want to puree sushi, though.
I don't know that nori would puree very
I
well.
don't. You'd have to soak it, I think, in liquid pretty well.
Yeah, you'd have to soak it for a while.
Yeah. So, seaweed is a superfood, and I've talked before about putting kombu seaweed, Kombu, in your beans when you cook your beans because it helps break them down so you don't end up with gas. And that's also a good option. Susie says she's put nori in a smoothie before.
Oh, well.
Totally doesn't surprise me, my vegetarian friend. Yeah. Totally doesn't surprise me.
So it works.
Yeah, so it would puree. Okay. It's a strong flavor. Okay. So, try to get fish in your diet twice a week. 20 to 35% of your calories every day should be from fats, and a large majority of those we want to be from healthy fats. There are ways to do it. I love that we could do this because this is a great example of a dessert that has healthy fat in it. The almonds, yes, they're an omega-6, but we still need omega-6s in our diet, and they're higher in fiber as well, I believe. So a quarter cup has 3 grams of fiber, 6 grams of protein, and 15 grams of fat. So high in fat, a good amount of protein, and it's got fiber in it. It's a superfood as well.
And then I used coconut oil.
As well.
So this goes into the fridge and it will all kind of harden up and you cut it into bars.
So
Cookie
we
bars.
are going to sign off, but when we cut it here in a few minutes, we're going to send you a picture and we'll post it. So if anyone else has any other questions, you're watching later, you want to know more about a certain topic that I've touched on, you want to know more about the food that we've made today, I will get recipes done. I am so sorry. It sometimes takes me a while to get them typed up. I will get them done, I promise. And if I forget and you want them, send us a message and say, hey, Kat, get on that recipe. I need it. And I will do it for you. So thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. And enjoy eating and drinking your healthy fats.
Have a great week.
Have a great week.